Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Slamhub Wrestling. Myself, Suprit, and this is your NXT TakeOver in your house review. And I'm joined by Spandan here. So, how you doing, Spandan, and what you think about in your house?
So, Takeover in Your House was amazing, and we talked about this on the previous review of NXT that they, even if they don't have a proper card and they've rushed the build up, they still deliver with the matches, and they have again as usual. So, a couple of talking points other than the matches as well for NXT Takeover in Your House, and we'll talk about it now. Apparently, it's my last review for Slamhub Wrestling. I want to leave with a bang.
So, basically, you are pulling off a William Regal on me.
Yeah, I am. You need a new general manager for Slamhub Wrestling.
But we will talk about that. But yeah, other than, what happened was that the William Regal part really did it for me. Like, yeah, that was the most intriguing part and, a great cliffhanger for you could say, a good show.
Yeah, absolutely. And now I think it's a good point to start with that itself, or do you want to talk about the matches first?
We will talk about the entirety of this show, but before that, if you are new to Slam of Wrestling, then make sure to like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Check out our other content like we had a main roster talk, a AEW Dynamite review, our NXT reviews, and check all that out. Everything you need will be in the description below. But let's start from the hot topic, man. William Regal. So after the pay-per-view, so we had a scene of Mackenzie Mitchell, getting William Regal's thoughts on the entire pay-per-view. So Regal was looking a little sad as he was, walking out of the building, and he was saying that it's been 7 years and it's time for a change, and he just walks out, and that told us that William Regal is basically done with NXT as their general manager. But that's not the intriguing part, because as soon as this happened, everyone started fantasy booking that, yeah, Samoa Joe is coming back and taking that place. And then reports started coming around that Samoa Joe was spotted at the Performance Center, and Triple H, as actually re-signed Samoa Joe in the NXT brand. But it's still not clear whether he is whether he will get the chance to wrestle again. But one thing is confirmed, that he'll be in a non-wrestling figure, and mostly he'll be taking William Regal's spot. So thoughts on this whole situation?
So it's quite intriguing the way they ended the show here, because we had that grand, and then William Regal leaves with that I've been here 7 years and all of that stuff. So it is intriguing, and immediately after that, fantasy booking started that who's going to be the new authority figure, and it is official that Samoa Joe has re-signed with WWE, particularly NXT. So that's a big news, and the reports also say that Triple H was heavily negotiating with Samoa Joe, and he said, I won't send you to Vince, I will bring you back to NXT. So that was all the things that happened there. I want Samoa Joe to come back to in-ring action because he's one of the best, but William Regal is still the general manager for one episode of NXT. So he'll probably give us the news now. Are we fantasy booking Joe to be the general manager? It would be nothing short of epic, but let's see what happens. I don't think we should fantasy book it this early.
And by the way, they have announced for NXT that there's going to be a state of address, like we're going to be hearing from William Regal, and then we'll get a clearer picture. Maybe Samoa Joe shows up and takes Regal's spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wouldn't be shocked if Triple H also shows up on NXT for this, because on screen, I mean. So this is a big thing, because if you're replacing a general manager who's been here 7 years, and William Regal is not like a Raw SmackDown general manager. He's played a major role other than that, because we've had Booker T for SmackDown, AJ Lee for Raw, but they played a normal role. William Regal has been probably the main attraction of NXT, if you agree. So William Regal is a big move from the authority figure. So Samoa Joe, I hope it's Samoa Joe, but I don't want Samoa Joe to be done with in-ring wrestling, man. He's too damn good to be out.
But this is the same guy they put on Raw for those whole pandemic shows, and when the time came for budget cuts, they let him go. But yeah, Triple H, I think, like you said, Triple H really thinks differently of Samoa Joe. He knows how talented of a guy he is, whether be it in a wrestling capacity or a non-wrestling capacity. The commentary stuff he did on Raw was really good. And if he comes in as a authority figure, as a general manager, that could be, you could say, interesting scenario of watching NXT every week.
Yeah, absolutely. I would tune in every single week if Samoa Joe is the general manager. And talking about the job he did on Raw, I generally don't compare any commentator to Corey Graves because Corey is my favorite commentator. So now that SmackDown has Pat McAfee, he's also really good and all of that. But Samoa Joe, he was really, really good. That I feel when you look at Joe, you feel like he knows the business in and out. He knows everything about it. He's traveled so much. He's been in so many different companies. He knows the business. And talking about Triple H thinking different, it's kind of obvious because the Triple H style of business, which is NXT and all the indies that he collects, Evolve and all of that, and the Vince McMahon style of booking, you have a major difference here. But I don't like to talk about it a lot because again, people hate on Vince a lot, but again, he's the man who gave us all that we're talking about. He gave us everything that we have fun with. So Triple H does have a different style of booking, and he probably sees a lot in Samoa Joe left. And that's why I even said that it's said that Triple H negotiated heavily with Samoa Joe that I'll keep you on NXT. This is not you going to WWE. This is you coming to my home, NXT.
And by the way, I said it on Twitter that this is the most interesting or intriguing, you could say, time that I have seen in NXT for so long.
Yeah, very true. Because since a lot of time we were having these feuds, we're having rivalries. This authority storyline, we've seen authority storylines in the past, not like this one, because there's no one attacking William Regal. There's no one questioning his abilities as general manager. That's not happening. He's just simply replacing himself because he didn't like the things that happened at TakeOver. But again, the reason I found it a bit, different because there was a lot of bedlam and I didn't handle it properly. It's wrestling. It's a fighting business. What else do you expect? So that's the reason they selected to give us, and I don't have an issue with that. But let's see who's the general manager. If not Joe, then again it's even more intriguing because we've already thought it's Samoa Joe, and if it's not Joe, then who?
And they really did a great job, I think, setting up this whole situation with Regal walking out. Because if you've seen the last 2-3 weeks of NXT, he had really a problem with all the chaos that is going on in his roster.
Yeah,
And
true, because he was not able to handle any situation. Be it Johnny Gargano messing up every single week, be it Austin Theory doing all that stuff. Every superstar had a problem with William Regal destroying his office and all of that. And the way he cried off and walked out those guys, quite emotional and quite intriguing that what is the future? Because before the addressal post came on Instagram of WWE NXT that it's going to be an addressal on Wednesday, we did not know what to expect. He just said, I haven't seen such bedlam in 7 years. It's time for a change. So what does that mean? Does it mean change in the scenario of NXT? Does it mean him leaving as general manager? A lot of things had to happen. So now they've made it clear that also it said addressal on NXT. Why are we already assuming it's a new general manager? There's not been exact words used that we are going to find a new general manager. It's obviously 95% sure that that's going to happen, but it's not mentioned yet. So let's see what happens because it's probably the best thing I want to see on this week's NXT. Even after that massive main event, I think that's.
But yeah, if Samoa Joe does take that place, then he's gonna make a real great general manager. Like, he's not going to get bullied or talked upon like what Kross or someone else on the roster did with Regal.
So Samoa Joe coming to NXT as the general manager would mean big things because obviously he'll not be bullied. So someone like Karrion Kross, someone like a Gargano, if they try to dominate Samoa Joe, he's obviously going to smack them in the face. So you stand with my decision as general manager and you listen to me. That's going to be the case. Samoa Joe is going to play a big role in NXT, and hopefully it's Joe. But if not Joe, it's going to be even more intriguing on who it is.
And like we talked, hopefully, the door is open for him to make an in-ring return.
Absolutely. If there is a guy who will probably help Samoa Joe to get back in the ring, it's Triple H. It's not Vince. Because I think when they put Joe on commentary, I thought it was a smart move because he was constantly getting injured. There has to be a way to keep someone from doing things and paying a check to him because he's such a big name. He must be taking a good amount of numbers. So you have to give him some job to at least have the worth of his money. So he was doing commentary and he was doing a good job. So now that he's back on NXT, I think Triple H is the perfect guy to handle him because he was NXT champion. So Samoa Joe could also be NXT champion down the line. So, he has all these people who could be great dream matches for him. And if there's a guy who can help Samoa Joe get back in the ring, it is Triple H. It's not Vince McMahon who is going to put him on commentary again. Triple H will help get back Samoa Joe in ring shape and probably very, very soon. So let's see what the authority figure is. Maybe Joe handles the general manager post for some days, then Regal comes back. So that could also happen. So let's see what happens. But this week's NXT, you have to watch it.
But yeah, man, that was the whole situation with William Regal and maybe Samoa Joe taking that place. But let's talk about the pay-per-view, man. So they opened up with the six-man, winner take all for the North American and Tag Team Championships. So we had MSK and Bronson Reed. So they were defending the titles against the faction or trios, you could say, Legado del Fantasma. I thought this was a fun match. I think all six guys did some great sport, did some, you could say, great storytelling. Very fun way to open up the pay-per-view. What do you think about this match?
Yeah, great match because we weren't expecting a lot out of this. A six-man tag is always entertaining. Multi-man matches are always good, maybe be it battle royals, eight-man tag, 10-man tag. It's always good to see. So we already knew who was going to win. It was quite a predictable match, but watching it, doing all the fun stuff, all the spots that they did, going through the cage door that Bronson knocked out Escobar, all of that stuff. All in all, a great start to the pay-per-view. I was hyped up after that match and I loved it, but extremely dull crowd because they didn't put tickets online for this. I think they just brought in some fans from somewhere selling tickets in black or something like that because it was not the NXT crowd. I instantly got excited that, oh my God, NXT has crowd and NXT crowds are always energetic. But it was such a dull crowd that I didn't enjoy at all. So that was a good, bad, average move. You can judge it on the basis. But speaking about the match, great opener. Nothing much to talk about except the fun spots. So yeah, good.
Yeah, so one of the highlights you could say is that Mendoza and Ward really, had some great combo of moves. Like the entire trios were doing some great combo moves. So the main highlight spot was, talking about the where Bronson Reed would, run through basically Escobar through that cage door, or you could say that whole setup they have in the CWC. So finally, Bronson Reed would hit his finisher, the Tsunami Splash on, I think it was Mendoza, and that was basically it. Very predictable outcome. So I don't know where Legado, the whole faction goes from here. You could have Escobar going after the North American Championship, but as of now, you could hold it for now. Try building him up to get to that point, and Bronson Reed could basically have a he could have any other new challenger on that NXT roster.
Start to the pay-per-view. I highly doubt that they're going to build Escobar after this. because the NXT style of booking, it's going to be title match after title match, weekly. So that's going to be the NXT style of booking. Maybe not the Samoa Joe style of booking if he's the general manager now. So let's see what happens. But Escobar versus Bronson Reed is a near-sighted match. It's going to happen really, really soon in a singles match. Also, the reason that Escobar wasn't pinned in the match. So it's going to happen soon. I don't think they're going to build it for a next takeover. Also, we have a next takeover. We have NXT Great American Bash coming up. So that's going to happen, but I don't think they're going to stretch it. They're going to have on a weekly basis. Maybe you have that match. Maybe Escobar wins by DQ or something, and then you take it to American Bash. That could happen, but it's going to happen before.
And by the way, you mentioned takeover. So there is a chance we get a takeover for SummerSlam weekend.
Takeover. So this one is going to be July 6th, as the date is mentioned, Great American Bash. SummerSlam is August 20th, I think. Yeah, it's 20th. And 21st, I think. I don't remember exactly. 20th or 21st. So yeah, but that is around 5 weeks of build-up from NXT. So you have to see that. But again, SummerSlam is on a Saturday. So do you keep TakeOver for a Sunday? I don't think Vince McMahon will go down under Triple H and do a takeover on a Sunday and SummerSlam on a Saturday. So I highly doubt that. And I don't think there's going to be a takeover. Maybe Wednesday, they do it on their normal weekly episode, but I don't think on a Sunday.
Saturday, SummerSlam is confirmed for Saturday because I think there is a boxing fight that same day or the other night, something like that. But takeover, if not happening on Sunday, they could do it on a Thursday. Maybe.
A Thursday. A Thursday, maybe they could do it, but would they want to do it? Because it's Thursday is NXT UK, I presume. So they wouldn't want to do it. So let's see what happens. But now that they're doing monthly takeovers, they're back to doing monthly takeovers because there was a gap where they were not doing big shows. But now Stand and Deliver, then In Your House, now Great American Bash. I love the fact that they're repeating pay-per-views from last year. That gives a kind of a schedule to us. Like when the year begins, we know January is Royal Rumble. That way, they're doing all of this. So I like it that they're repeating pay-per-views.
Let's see, man. Let's see. I wouldn't want a takeover for SummerSlam weekend because they promised us that they were not going to piggyback the big four pay-per-views. But I think somewhere down the line, they went back and started doing these takeovers on a random month.
Yeah, they have not made NXT. NXT takeovers have lost their worth a bit. But because you do them on weekly episodes, that doesn't give them legitimacy. So let's see what happens. SummerSlam weekend, I highly doubt it. But keep it on a normal Sunday other than the SummerSlam weekend. Keep it on the week before, like you're doing this time. You had your In Your House, and next week we have Hell in a Cell. Do it like that. So that wouldn't be a problem. That would be the best solution.
But anyways, man, so we were talking about takeover In Your House. So we went through the first match. I forgot to talk about how they opened up this show. Like this is In Your House. So we had, some old school vibes. So we had Todd Petengill as the guest. And normally, remember those days when a takeover used to open up with some heavy metal song? So we had here Naomi. I don't know. I would maybe butchering her name. So they had some female singer over there. So she was just lip syncing the takeover theme, and the crowd was absolutely dead for this.
Yeah, I already said it. I think they sold the tickets on black or something like that. It was not the NXT crowd because if it was the NXT crowd, then they would have roared in even Mercedes Martinez versus Xia Lee. So that's the true NXT crowd. This wasn't that. And the singing was terrible. If you make me stand and make me sing the NXT theme song, maybe I'll properly lip sync it if I know the lyrics. Anyone can do that. What's the speciality of that singer then? I mean, there are people who sing in lip sync forms, and still you think maybe he's still singing that. But this was very obvious that she was lip syncing, and there was no chance she was singing that truly. So poor start, but the match is rocked.
And at least you could have bring in Poppy there. She could have made it a bit energetic.
Yeah, her song Say Cheese, I heard it a lot on Spotify. It's very heavy, but still it was entertaining, and maybe Io Shirai stands by her side, something like that. Poppy is now a big name in NXT, a marquee pop artist for NXT. And she's also sung the theme song, so why not?
Anyways, man, let's move on. So we had Mercedes Martinez facing Xia Lee. So we talked about during the predictions that we did for Takeover that this is the least interesting match on the entire card, and it you could have done it easily on a regular NXT TV.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the hype wasn't there a lot. You obviously had a story, but that's only just one Mae Young Classic match. And that was the same video that was showed to us 3 weeks in a row. Even in the build up to this match, there was no actual build up. They didn't show the promos that both these superstars did. They just showed that one match that they had 4 years ago. So I'm confused because the Xia Li storyline, I don't get it. There's Xia Li, there's that guy named Boa, there's Tian Shah, there's Me Young or something like that. I don't get the storyline. I'm too damn confused for them to make me understand. There should be some proper booking to this. I predicted Xia Li winning this match because they're sort of giving her a push. So I knew this was going to happen. Nothing exciting in this match, but I'm very, very confused. They need something on NXT this week and the next week to make me feel like, okay, this is the obvious storyline. This is Tian Shah. This is her role with Xia Li. This is Me Young, or whoever she was. She's the coach of Xia Li or something like that. I'm too confused to review it right now. But talking about Takeover's match, it was the least interesting, and it proved to be because it wasn't that good. So I would give it a normal 2.5 or something.
And did you also learn that Tian Shah is actually not the name of that mythical creature? It's Mei Ying.
Exactly. Every week I'm watching NXT, I'm like, okay, Tian Shah, and she's walking out with Xia Li. Okay, that's Tian Shah. Oh my god, that's Tian Shah. Now she's not. She's someone else, and Tian Shah is in the background. Mi Young is the coach. She just destroyed Mercedes Martinez after the match. Vic Joseph says, how is Tian Shah going to feel about that? I'm like, isn't this Tian Shah? And then all of this happens. So I don't know where this is leading, but this is less of a horror story and more of a comedic character on NXT.
Tian Shah is basically their faction name then.
No, that can't happen. Tian Shah won't be the faction name. That is somewhat a woman. So we have 3 women
then
here.
Why the fuck are they saying Tian Shah?
Exactly. You have Mae Young, who's the character. You have the only one person out of the 3 female names in the story is Xia Li. I don't understand any other superstar out of them. Boa is obvious. He's wearing those glasses, doing nothing. He's just getting beaten up. Xia Li is doing all the fierce stuff inside the ring as well. But mother, Young and father Tian Shah, do something with it. I do not get it at all. Do something weekly, give them some time. Don't just put them randomly, because I am promising you, at the end of the day, on a week of NXT or TakeOver, when Xia Li is competing, Vic Joseph is going to blast on commentary. He will not pronounce the names right. He's going to go mad, and he'll, botch the entire story.
But anyways, man, like you said, this was an average match, and at the end we had Xia Li picking up a big win, her first takeover win over you could say a big veteran like Mercedes Martinez. So we had a little post-match angle here. So Xia Li was about to attack Martinez with a chair, but Martinez would escape and she would reverse the roles here. She would be using the chair on Xia Li and Boa. So then she started to focus on who's her name? Mei Ying.
Mei Ying / Tian Shah.
So she finally got up from her throne, and we had a little face to face between Martinez and her. So Ying, she grabbed Martinez by the throat. So Martinez was trying her best to escape. So at the end, Martinez was sent flying off the ramp onto the guardrail, you could say, and that was basically it. So I don't know where this storyline goes forward, but really not into this whole gimmick, we could say.
Yeah, not into this at all. Because why are they having this match? Who is who? What is their character? Is it someone what of a Firefly Funhouse, Bray and the Fiend? Make it obvious on TV because it's not obvious at all. I don't think even 10% of the NXT viewers are clear about what this is and what the character is and what the storyline is because I don't get it. This is a demonic character sitting on the chair. She finally gets up, does nothing but a chokehold, drops Mercedes Martinez, and instantly Mercedes was a heel. Now she's a face. So too confused about this. But even 15 minutes on TV time can make us think, okay, this is the end. This is the story. This is me. This is Tian Shah. This is Xia Lee. This is your story. Even 15 minutes on a weekly show can make that. But they need to give that 15 minutes, right? So right now, if you ask me, are you invested in the storyline? Not even 1%.
And by the way, did you know that she was 2000 years old?
So, Brith, come on, man. You asked me this in the last review. I do know now that because you told me that she's 2000 years old. But 2000 years ago, we didn't have wrestling, but she's learned the chokehold somehow.
There you go. At least we learned that Tian Shah is a faction, not the name of the person.
Yeah, we did. Let's just move on.
So what else did we have? I think I forgot. I think we had the $1 million championship match in a ladder match between Cameron Grimes and LA Knight.
Yeah, we did. And we had that match next. And we had $1 Million Man sit ringside for it as well.
And by the way, if you heard the small reaction from the crowd, other than the main event, this was the most invested that the fans were in, booing LA Knight and giving a great babyface reaction for Cameron Grimes.
Yeah, this was the most obvious match and very good match, to be honest, because the crowd was chanting LA sucks and to the moon. These were the two chants they were continuing and felt really nice to actually see that the crowd are human beings and not robots. So I love the fact that they got invested in at least one match. And speaking about the match itself, um, Escobar Devlin was better, I would say, because in every ladder match, the point is you have to use the ladder as a weapon as well, not just for climbing to the moon, no pun intended, and win the championship. So Jericho and Michaels, the match for the world championship, best example, using the ladder as a weapon more than just for climbing it. So Devlin and Escobar did it better, but it was just made to add something extra to the match because all the matches were individual singles matches, four of them. So three of them, sorry. So it was just made to add something extra to it, but highly entertaining. And I guess the right winner again.
Right winner. I think if you see the storyline that was going on between Grimes and the $1 Million Man, the end goal should have been Grimes getting the championship, but I don't know. I don't mind LA Knight as the $1 Million champion unless they are continuing it, but I would have preferred Grimes getting that belt.
I don't think this is the end of the story because of which LA Knight won. Because when we were predicting it in the last review, I predicted LA Knight and you said, isn't Cameron Grimes the guy who's this story being built for? And then I thought, okay, it could have been anyone fitting in that storyline with Cameron Grimes because ultimately he's going to be the champion and LA Knight is just the person that Cameron Grimes will beat. But now that he's become the champion, so there is quite the possibility that this story is going to continue because at the end of the day, you are right that Cameron Grimes will be the $1 Million champion. That is the end goal of this entire storyline. So when is it going to happen? Great American Bash probably, maybe SummerSlam we can take over, but the end is going to be Grimes winning the title.
So speaking about the match was really good. You could say, like I said, crowd tried their best to make this match even more. So we had some crazy spots. So at one point, so Cameron Grimes and LA Knight were fighting on near ringside, where the structure is there for to hold the whole CWC set. So Grimes was actually climbing that structure, and for 1 second I thought he's going to climb that structure and go to the briefcase. For 1 second I thought, yes, that's going to be the finish, but no, he jumped off that structure to take out LA Knight. So as we get to the end, so there was a lot of struggle between the two men to climb the ladder. So at one point LA Knight was actually knocked down. So Cameron Grimes was just, he had the chance to climb the ladder, but he wanted to say to the moon. But there's where he wasted his time. LA Knight came back to the ring and just flipped the ladder as Cameron Grimes went falling onto the setup ladder on the stage. So LA Knight would climb the ladder, get the briefcase, and is now the new $1 million champion. I think he's the third man in history to hold the belt, excluding the $1 million man. So there you go.
Yeah, because the match was entertaining. Now, not using ladder as a weapon, but overall it was really good. So Cameron Grimes at the end of the match, before losing it, he not only had the time to climb to the top of the ladder, but to the moon. So he could have done that. But he had so much time. But again, that made it obvious towards the end that LA Knight was going to win. For a millisecond, I also thought that when he climbed to the structure, he was going for the title, but then it struck me that it's too far away. He can't do that. So he jumped off and he didn't do a proper dive, to be honest. He was almost landing on his knees. He was not hitting the perfect crossbody. You have the superstar. Trust LA Knight a bit. He's come from a reputed company. He's wrestled a bit. So he's good enough. And LA Knight is the perfect superstar to carry the title for now, because he has the personality, he has the in-ring abilities, he's a very good wrestler, and I see a lot of charisma in his style. So good choice to give him the title, but let's see where this goes, because Cameron Grimes has to win the title.
Cameron Grimes is going to be super over when we get back to full crowds.
Yeah, absolutely. When he comes back, you talked about this last week as well, because Cameron Grimes is now probably one of the favorite superstars of NXT. So when the crowds come back, when the true crowds come back and not robots, so they will be putting over Cameron Grimes in a big way.
But yeah, man. So from that, we get to the NXT Women's Championship match. We had Raquel Gonzalez. So she was defending the title against Ember Moon. They also told you the story about, you could say, Ember wanting to create history by being a two-time NXT Women's Champion, joining the likes of Asuka and Charlotte Flair. And they also told you what happened between how was her partner Shotzi Blackheart was taken out. So I think this match was fine, you could say. Ember,
Yeah, it was decent.
Yeah, Ember really, put on the effort to carry Raquel Gonzalez here and maybe give a decent match here.
They're putting too much weight in commentary that Raquel Gonzalez is the most improved wrestler on the planet, Wade Barrett said. So he said she's the most improved wrestler on the planet. Okay, she's good. Most improved on the planet. There could be a lot of names that could come into that list. So let's see what happens. But talking about the match, Ember Moon did do the job of the veteran, if you would say. So she carried Raquel Gonzalez really well. But the intriguing part is here, as I add to this, that the Great American Bash promo, the package contained Dakota Kai for a lot of time. So is Great American Bash the time that they're doing Raquel Gonzalez versus Dakota Kai? Do they not see a lot of hype for it to go to the big weekend of SummerSlam? Maybe they see that people are not that invested. We'll just go through it on one takeover. All of that could happen, but apparently Shotzi Blackheart is not officially injured. She came out and all of that stuff happened. She beat up Dakota Kai and ran away, and those two went out. But Raquel retains her title. If not Dakota Kai, then is Frankie Monet the next challenger for Raquel Gonzalez? So all these things are going to matter in the future. NXT's post-show of TakeOver in your house is going to be important.
And speaking about not being invested, so do you also feel that Raquel Gonzalez she might have improved, but was she ready to be NXT Women's Champion?
Tough question. I think she wasn't. So Raquel Gonzalez is a very good wrestler. I agree. All of that is there. She's the biggest on NXT. So no disrespect. She's the biggest on NXT in size. So Io Shirai didn't really have a challenger for Stand and Deliver. And we've talked about this in the past. She didn't have a true challenger. So it was kind of random that she walked up to Raquel and I want you next. You're the damn champion. Wait for the number one contender to come. I want you next. And wasn't that a stupid move? You're smashing a hammer on your own foot. And that was a very poor kind of style of booking. But Raquel Gonzalez is proving me wrong. She's doing a good job as champion. She isn't a bad champion. I wouldn't say she's bad. So let's see where this goes because there are a lot of challengers on NXT. Just adding a bit here, we had that tag team match in the pre-show where Zoe Stark again left out Zayda Ramir and tagged with Saray. So again, that's not a team anymore. So all of these women are left alone. Who's going to face Raquel Gonzalez next? Intriguing.
But yeah, you could all say that she wasn't that ready to get the title. You could say this soon.
Yeah, you could because there were other superstars that could have taken that spot. Dakota Kai was the veteran. You could have given her the title, made her the champion, and then Raquel turns on her. Maybe that could have been a better storyline. But they do what they do. They make the choices on who has to be the champion. And I don't doubt a lot because she's been a good champion, but she was not ready for it yet. But let's see where this goes because she's now champion. We can't change it. So who's going to be the next challenger? That's going to be the talking point.
But let's talk about the match here, man. So we had one of the main spots where that Ember was really struggling to, put down who's that? Raquel Gonzalez. So she also hit the Eclipse at one point and was going for the pin, but I think we had some little shenanigans with Dakota Kai. So this prompted Shotzi Blackheart to show up, and she chased Dakota Kai throughout the ring and onto this setup for the In Your House, and she actually dumped her in that small garden type section we had for the set, which was funny because Dakota Kai in real life is actually into gardening and stuff. And by the way, so Ember is still struggling to take down this huge Raquel Gonzalez. She was going for yet another Eclipse. I think that was countered. And we also saw a big DDT on the ramp, which looked brutal. So at the end, Raquel was finally able to hit her, powerbomb finisher, and that was basically it.
Yeah, good match, decent match. I wouldn't say good. So it was a decent match, but again, it was just a go-through challenger, as I say. Nobody thought that Ember was going to be champion again. Even in the global press conference that they had, I watched it. The global press conferences that NXT does kind of hypes me up for the pay-per-views. It's really official. All the superstars are in suits and all of that stuff. Feels very formal. It's a good method. So that they didn't have a lot of focus on the match. I wasn't getting hyped for that particular match. So let's see what happens in the future. Ember Moon, apparently Shotzi is not injured, as I said. So is the team back again? Are they going after the way again? So a lot of things to talk about in the women's division of NXT, but just for the match, decent.
And I won't mind her that she drops the title back to someone like you again.
Nah, I don't think that's going to happen. That's a very, fantasy booked story, if you would say, because we know Dakota is turning. When we don't know, but I don't think NXT has the guts or the courage to do a non-title women's feud. We saw it with Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai that had a crowd to support it. You had that incredible heel turn at War Games and all of that stuff. But a non-title Raquel and Dakota feud, I don't think so. And if Io becomes champion again the same challengers, again the same superstars, so highly unlikely.
Let's see, man. But let's finally get into the main event before. They had, we had Ciampa and Thatcher for a little promo segment. They were hyping up their, tornado tag team match that we have for NXT this week against the grizzled young veterans. So that's going to be a real fun scenario involving the tag team situation. So yeah.
That's going to be a good match, and hopefully the grizzled young veterans, my favorite tag team in NXT, win the match. So let's see where this goes. But apparently, what I think is whoever wins this match is probably the first one to go after MSK. So that's kind of obvious to us right now. So let's see who wins. Hopefully, they build a story around GYV or Ciampa and Thatcher. So let's see what happens. But yeah, nothing much.
A fatal five-way for the NXT Championship. So Karrion Kross was defending against Pete Dunne, who, by the way, had a really sweet white gear because white gear never misses. And we
Yeah,
had also, you were saying.
Yeah, I was saying England has the white gear in football, right, for the Euro 2020. So apparently Pete Dunne was supporting his own country, and that's the reason he came out. But you're a bruiserweight. He looked like a tooth fairy. So white gear, maybe not supporting, but then he got into the ring and we got the real Pete Dunne. So not an issue there. But I'm glad that Triple H allowed the white gear because Vince doesn't like white gear at all.
And we also had Johnny Gargano, and he was openly, giving tribute to Shawn Michaels' red gear from the 90s.
Yeah, incredible gear. Johnny Gargano, obviously, he loves his gear like Seth Rollins on the main roster. Rollins now, he is the drip god, but when he was the architect, he used to do all the superheroes and fantasy characters. So Johnny Gargano also does that. His gear on NXT is good. So yeah, paying tribute to the man who's booking all of the stuff alongside Triple H.
So we also had Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly in this match. And by the way, I'm really heating up to Adam Cole's new theme.
You don't like it or do you love it?
I think I'm slowly trying to like it, even though my opinion still stands that this Def Rebel teams that have been going on in WWE recently kind of suck.
Okay, so Def Rebel got the Roman Reigns theme song right. He did that incredibly. So, yeah, I mean, going from the great Undisputed Era theme song back to this one, it's difficult for us to adjust as well because that was spectacular. That was a great theme song. But I apparently like Kyle O'Reilly's theme song more, Accent Smash. So Adam Cole during his entrance tried to include the boom and the Adam Cole baby very nicely. It wasn't out offbeat, so it was cool to see. But again, Undisputed Era theme song doesn't match any of this. That was way too good.
By the way, me being the theme song Mark, so I just realized that this new theme is actually a tribute to the Undisputed Era theme and also his famous theme song from Ring of Honor. They actually kind of blended
Okay, I
it
didn't
together.
know that.
So that's one fact that you learned today.
Yeah, I did. I didn't know that.
But let's get into the match, man. The match, we all thought it going to be a chaotic, type of banger, and they really did that. They had a really good, you could say, great match.
Absolutely. I would add it to my list of match of the year contenders without a doubt because it was very, very good. Didn't end it very quickly. There were several spots where I thought that the match is going to end, but it didn't. So that's a very smart job. And talking about the match itself, I didn't even think any one superstar was there to take the pin. We were very adamant that Pete Dunne is the one man who's going to take the pin or Johnny Gargano. So they built all the superstars really nicely. And I don't complain about the leg slapping, man, because I love the sound of super kicks, but it's too much. In the match, Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano, they wear trunks, they don't wear pants. So it's very obvious. They're just banging their legs so much that in the match when I'm watching, I feel so bad that we're viewers, we're clearly seeing you're slapping your legs. At least make it some way that we don't notice. Seth Rollins, the best man, he slaps his leg, but we don't notice it any time. So Adam Cole is the worst in this sense because he slaps his leg way too much. And I don't know why you're looking these directions because you have a lot to say right now.
Wasn't Adam Cole supposed to be the best super kick guy in the business?
No, I think Ziggler takes that spot, but I think Adam Cole needs to stop doing that. I don't think he will because he's very, adamant to do it. When he does that last shock, he just brings his hand clearly from the top and does this on his leg. Clearly, everyone can see it. And it's on camera because he comes from behind. The camera is already facing him and he does this on his leg. So it's really clear that he's slapping his leg. Even Johnny Gargano is far better than him, but he also overdid it in the match. Pete Dunne is not a super kick guy, but he was so doing it so subtly that it was so good to watch. And obviously, Kyle O'Reilly is a submission specialist, so he did his job properly in the match. Pete Dunne looked like an absolute beast because Pete Dunne was apparently there to take the pin, but he ruled like a superstar in that match. And obviously, Karrion Kross has made me a fan of himself now because Karrion Kross is a too good superstar. He is going to be going to the main roster, not now, but obviously he will in the future. So all five guys delivered, and I loved the match. Let's talk about the finish now because the finish was something I loved.
But let's talk about the story in general of this match. The story was revolving obviously around the monster here and carrying Cross. Like all the four guys would take some, have a little back and forth, and they would get knocked down or get suplexed. And at one point, we had the you could say the numbers game was really too much for carrying Cross, and he actually got sent into the in your house set, that door in the beginning parts by Dunn and Gargano, and we saw a lot of double teams, triple teams move from the four actual in-ring workers. Like at one point there was a reverse Rana and a super kick on Pete Dunne, and there was some crazy spot where they did a super kick into a suplex. Lot of combo moves, lot of triple team moves. Like I said, I couldn't name them all. But as we get to the end, Karen Cross was was slammed onto the table, which didn't break. So he would come back to the match and started suplexing one by one. And he also did a double Saito suplex on Adam Cole and Pete Dunne. So like you were saying, so the final two men were I think it was Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. So O'Reilly had Cole in a submission. So here comes Karen Cross. He'll applies a chokehold on O'Reilly, which forces O'Reilly to leave his submission as O'Reilly slowly faints and the referee stopped the match. Karen Cross is still NXT champion. They could have, this was the perfect scenario to take the title of Cross, but they want him to be NXT champion a little longer. So there you go.
Yeah. So many things to talk about. First of all, the one short thing I want to say is the start of the match, the camera angle. After the darkness of Cross's theme, Fall and Pray, he stands up. Scarlett Bordeaux and Karrion Kross are in the middle of the ring. You have all four challengers surrounding him from four corners, and from the dark, the camera angle is on. And I love that angle because it instantly gave me such a goosebump moment that, oh my God, this is the main event. So let's talk about the ending. The ending, I think it was perfectly booked. Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly in submission. For a moment, I thought Kyle O'Reilly was going to win the NXT Championship, but the camera was set in such a way that I could see Karrion Kross getting up from the commentary table and come to the ring. So he came and gave the chokehold. And if Hollywood directors are watching this, if you want an actor, Kyle O'Reilly is the best because the way he sold that choke, I felt like he was dead. That was the level of acting, I wouldn't say, but the level of selling. The word is selling, yeah, wrestling. So the word is selling. The level of selling that Kyle O'Reilly did on that choke was, I can use all the adjectives. It was great. The way he was spitting out of his mouth, his eyes, his nose, he was selling it incredibly. And apparently NXT has told us that don't underestimate Kross. He's not losing the NXT Championship this early. And talking about who's going to face Kross now, because this was the major question leading into this match. If Kross is losing, which apparently we thought he is, who is going to be the next challenger for the NXT Championship? Now that Kross has won, I'll tell you something from the global press conference. LA Knight had said that even if he wins the NXT, $1 million championship or not, he wants the NXT champion from that Fatal 5-Way to remember his name because he's coming after that too. So if LA Knight is the next challenger, let's see. But Samoa Joe is apparently coming in. Lot of talking points about NXT.
And I don't know, this is going to be really tough to pick out challenges for someone like Karen Cross.
Yeah, because he beat Adam Cole now. Because I feel stupid. It's very stupid if you have a triple threat and the person who doesn't get pinned comes back that okay, you didn't win me, give me a rematch. What is this? So that's exactly what happened to Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley and Strowman. That's exactly what happened with Asuka, Charlotte, and Ripley. The person who wasn't pinned demands a rematch, and they get it. Why? So this match that happened, he's apparently beat the top four of NXT. Hopefully these four don't come back for a singles rematch because I would be bored of it. Match obviously will be good. As I say, NXT doesn't under deliver in matches. Matches will always be good, but I want to see someone new. So LA Knight could probably be the one. You have new superstars coming to NXT as well. So Hydro is there who haven't officially entered the title picture. So there's a lot of things that you have NXT to watch for. So hopefully you do watch NXT because a lot of things to talk.
And by the way, speaking about Karen Cross, the guy is really great. He is the total package, the typical Vince McMahon wrestler that you can't, there's no way you can't ruin that guy.
I said this. I said this 2 weeks back that Karrion Kross, if he goes to the main roster, he's too good to be ruined because he has promo skills. And Scarlett Bordeaux is not his manager; she's his wife. So the talking is done by Kross. So he's good at mic skills. He's good in the ring. He's a incredible character. So he's you said it right. He's the perfect package. And I didn't like Kross a lot, to be honest, because I love Finn Balor so much that when he was in the feud with Finn Balor, I was so rooting for Balor. But in this match, he's made a hater in me become a fan. I love Karrion Kross now, and I'm very excited to see what his future is.
And if you want to see a great Karen Cross match, then you need some. He needs to be against guys like the great in ring workers like the four guys in this match. And for example, you said Balor. That's why when you could make Karen Cross look even bigger as a superstar.
Yeah, because he's 6'3", and 6'3" isn't too big in the main roster sense. Orton is 6'5", Sheamus is 6'4", Roman is 6'3" or 4. So he's not that big, but comparing to the NXT guys, because all of these NXT guys are small, so he looks really big in front of them. But Balor is a high-flying superstar, a grappler, and all of that styles. But Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly can have an incredible submission match with Karrion Kross. Imagine that. So all these storylines come in. Pete Dunne versus Karrion Kross can be another incredible match because I think Pete Dunne is the next challenger. If you would pick out of these four, why I think so is because the maximum amount of single face-offs that has happened with Karrion Kross have been Pete Dunne. Even in the match, Gargano, Cole, and Riley are knocked out. It's Pete Dunne and Karrion Kross. Towards the end, it was Pete Dunne and Karrion Kross. So the baddest man in NXT, Pete Dunne versus Karrion Kross, is a probable feud in the future. But let's see what happens because right now I don't think LA Knight is going to be the next challenger. So it's going to be one of these four people, that's for sure. So let's see who it is.
There you go, man. That was NXT Takeover in your house. The takeover was good, but not at the level that we have seen in for previous takeovers.
Yeah, because there were two matches that were, not needed. Yeah, you must be shocked why I said two, because only one match is obvious, that is Mercedes Martinez and Xia Lee. But the second is Raquel versus Ember Moon. Really rushed, no story, nothing, and they put it on a takeover. Just remove those two matches. Look at the ladder match for the $1 million title, NXT Championship Fatal 5-Way, and the six-man tag. Three incredible stories and matches, and that's a brilliant takeover card. But okay, so based on takeovers in the past, this was not the best. This was not the worst either. So I would rate it around an 8.5. I would remove the 1.5 due to the Mercedes and Xia Lee. The match of Raquel and Ember wasn't bad. I didn't want it, but it wasn't bad. So yeah, 8.5 out of 10 is my rating.
I would give it a same around 8.5 or maybe an 8, but I'm going a 0.5 for that cliffhanger that they gave with William Regal.
Yeah, good point. You would give it an 8 and a 0.5 for that.
But yeah, man, and before we leave, where can these guys find you?
So you guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Ghar Baithe DC. I do a talk show. I also do vlogs and special videos. You can find it all. And for the next time, whenever we meet, because this is apparently my last review for Slamhub Wrestling, before I come back, I'm not ending it forever. So I'm going to see you guys very soon. Peace.
And you can find Slamhub Wrestling on Twitter at SlamHubW, Instagram at SlamHub Wrestling. You can catch the audio version of this review on Anchor and Spotify as well. And we'll see you guys next time.